I had my pseudo last day with my seniors in high school today, and I tried to explain to them that the next 4 years are going to go by really, really fast. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, it's wild. I can't believe that I'm like next time I go back to Villanova, I'll be a senior. It's wild.
It's insane. It's insane. Jess knows. Jess, college went fast for you, didn't it?
I wish.
Didn't it just end like last year?
2 years ago. I wish I was still there.
And so Jess says 2 years. So as I'm talking to my seniors today, I said, if you don't think it goes by fast, today actually it's today to the day, 13 years since I graduated.
Wow.
From Towson University. Down in Maryland. So, I mean, it goes by very, very fast. But we're not here to do a college talk with you today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. We could, because as you know, sports are starting to take that dip right now. We're in a little...
It's that time.
It's that weird time. It's the time where Anthony Gargano always says he hates the summer because there's just nothing to talk about unless the Phillies are really good. And they could be. They could still be there. And we will talk Phillies today. We will really get in to the Phillies a little bit deeper than we have to date. Jess, I believe you got us Andrew Salciunas from 97.5 will be calling in.
Yep, 3:30 should be.
So 3:30, so about a half hour into the show, he will be calling in. He has the new Fanatic, what is it, the Fanatic Baseball Hour, Fanatic Phillies Hour?
Yeah, something like that.
From 6 to 7 on weeknights and really delving into what to make of our Philadelphia Phillies this year. You know, I think it's so funny how this town works. And it really wasn't until starting to do this, I started paying attention to how fans react to things.
Right.
And one of the things that we do really badly is we get overhyped about things. And then when it doesn't quite go the way we want it to, we start like, oh, it's a failure. I've literally heard people this week try and tell me that Bryce Harper's a failure.
People are stupid.
And
people are pretty stupid.
And what it gets me to is saying we might actually not be the smart fans I thought we might. We're pretty stupid. We got some stupid fans.
We're stupid. We are relentless and we are very passionate. You cannot take that away from us.
But we're stupid.
This is one of the dumbest fan bases.
Yeah, and it's not. And I don't mean dumb like they don't. They know the sport.
They get absolutely. The sport. They know the sport. They get the sport. They know the players. They get that's not what we're going for. Yeah, like we
know the 53rd man on a 53-man roster in football, but the way their reactions are stupid to everything. Mm-hmm. And I fell into that trap this week. I am in Florida, okay? I am in Florida, right? I went to Florida. I was at Marco. I did not get any crazy stories. I was looking. I mean, I had my head on a swivel. Ironically, we hung out with a friend of my wife's and her husband who lived down there. And they listened to the episode, or they saw on Instagram when we ripped the man or the woman with the shopping cart. Yeah. And she said, yeah, I don't know how funny it is the way we're hearing you rip Florida, other than the fact that we agree totally with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I didn't see anything personally.
Patrick's got some good stories for us today.
Good.
I'm excited.
Good, because I didn't see anything personal. I was looking too. I'm looking around like waiting for something to happen, but no, just wasn't going to go down. It was kind of dead down there where we were. It was like off-season type of thing. But
was it nice?
Oh, my God. Listen, most vacations you go on, you're out, you're doing things, you're running around. You need a vacation for the vacation.
Right.
This was the first one. First of all, I don't want to get into it because it's my This Is Madness. We had a little slow start to the trip.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
And I said, yeah, so we'll be talking about that, and I will be basically letting everyone know what airline never to fly as long as they live. So I don't think we'll ever get an advertisement from this company.
Yeah, I'm sure This Is Madness, so I won't ask you.
Yes, please do not let me give up my secrets here. We got to keep people involved here. But it was the first trip that I think I've ever been on where there was no plan. Like, I slept till 9:30 Friday morning.
When was the last time you slept till 9:30? Later? Before the girls were born?
Yeah, probably 4 years ago. 5 years ago. It was glorious. And we went to the beach for an hour or two and we sit at the pool. Then Alyssa wanted to stay at the pool and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to go sit on the couch on my phone because I can. Because there's nothing here.
You really went and sat inside on the couch.
It was so hot.
On your phone.
It was so hot.
That makes sense.
It was.
Oh my God.
So hot.
Oh my God.
Well, how long did you do it?
Like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
she's over here acting like I did it all night. You know what I mean? We went out to eat
So
for every
stupid.
meal. Like, I got to go out and eat for every single meal. I had, like, I feel like a burger 3 back-to-back meals without realizing it, and loved it. I mean, it was great. It was fantastic.
Sounds lovely.
It was. It was lovely. But how the hell did I get to Florida?
We were talking about the jackasses that live in Florida.
Oh, yeah. But no, our fan base is so. Oh, when I was there, though, I'm sitting on the beach the one day, and up on my Instagram pops up to my teammates to Philly. Thank you. And this was the Jimmy Butler Instagram. And I'm not going to lie to you. There was about a 20-minute span where I was just like dejected and depressed. And
Of course there was.
And Alyssa goes, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Oh, nothing." She was like, "Oh my God, is I didn't even tell her. She goes, "Is this about Jimmy Butler?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Jesus." She goes, "Nothing's been decided yet." It's like, I know, but it seems like it has been. Like I jumped from 0 to 100 that quick. So I'm not taking myself out of the dumb reactionary side. But
I
just
would say you're definitely not exempt from that at all.
no, but some people are dumber than me. That's all I'm trying to get.
Yeah, 100%. But
Thanks,
you're
Jess.
definitely on that side at times.
At times, we've all had our moments. We all had our moments.
I've tried to eliminate mine because I
But you've
realize
had 'em.
Because I realize how angry I get at the people who do constantly have them. So I've tried to remove them from my life.
It's hard. What about Patrick? Are you a reactionary guy, or do you just kind of watch and see how it goes?
Yeah, I'd say that I'm pretty like reactionary, but it doesn't take long before I like think about it more and be like, oh, like it's not that bad, or like, oh, it really is bad. Like,
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me. The Phillies are not even a quarter of the way into this season, or maybe they just hit the quarter mark. I don't know. No, there's no way. They've played, what, 35
I don't know.
games? 40 games? They're like 29-16, aren't they?
Something like that.
They're 28 and 20.
So they've played 48 games.
Yes.
Okay, so, all right, so they have hit the quarter mark. But, I mean, my God. People, oh, my God, it's a bust. Bryce Harper's terrible. And then he launches one out of Citizens Bank Park.
Here's the thing. Like,
don't get it.
complain all you want. And I'm not going to sit here and complain until, like, they're not winning consistently. Like, until they're not, like, playing well and they're not in first place and they're falling apart and, like, going off the end like they did last year, I'm good. Like, relax, everyone. Chill. Like, that's all it is. Like, just like, it's like when you ask me, you're like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, what do you think of this? Oh, they didn't sign a linebacker. And I'm just like, there's still off season left. Like, I'm going to let it happen and we'll get there. And then once we've completed
Became
it.
about me somehow.
That's what, yes, because that's
This
how
totally became about me. Like,
It
we're
is about
talking about
you.
a whole fan base, and somehow this whole thing wrapped
That
back
was just
around.
an example.
to me.
It was just an example. It was
All
an
I had said at
example.
that time is if they don't sign a linebacker, I think it's a big mistake. Now they have other places we need to talk about. We'll do a little Eagles talk.
boy.
We will talk a little Eagles today. We got to talk OTAs, Carson, Malcolm Jenkins' situation, the Chris Long retirement. A lot of things have actually taken place here for the Eagles over the last week and a half. And even though it's the offseason, Jess, we've said this on the show a lot. There is no offseason in the NFL. I mean, every episode we should be able to talk
Yeah, a little bit.
And we kind of discussed that what I think our new segment's going to be is we're going to kind of do an around the 4 for 4s every episode where we'll just try and touch on something that's going on. Now, granted, right now, the only thing going on with the Flyers is they have a new coach, and I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
So there it is. We've touched on the
I
Flyers.
should pay
Thank you.
attention to.
Check.
You know what?
We have to start.
That'll be my goal for the summer is to pay better attention to the Flyers.
Well, you have to start. I mean, because you hope eventually they come out of this. But their fan base has pissed me off more than anybody. When I say their fan base, I mean that we only bleed orange and black and we don't like anybody else and screw the Sixers because they play at the same time as us. That's the part of the fan base I speak about.
That's fair.
But we'll touch on the Sixers today. We'll touch on the Eagles. I mean, every episode here for a while I think is going to be this kind of, hey, let's wrap around what's going on with our teams.
Right.
And if there's any big sports story, Steph Curry saying, "Oh, you guys thought I was done? That's cool. That's funny. I'm not done yet." And the sweep of the Portland Trail Blazers.
He's so good.
And the fact that Toronto looked as good as dead after 2 games, and now we're tied at 2 games apiece. showing Sixers fans who said, "Oh, how did they lose to this team?" Toronto's kind of good. Toronto's good. They're a good team. It's okay, guys. It's okay. The top of the East was really good this year.
It came down to 4 doinks off the rim. Like
the quadruple doink.
Come on. Like, if you think that they, if you think that the Raptors were not worthy of beating the Sixers, you're stupid.
You're very stupid. You're an idiot.
I knew it was going to be hard. I'm happy with the competitive nature of it. Do I still think they should have won? Am I upset? Of course. But, the Raptors absolutely deserve to win the series. It's not like...
I mean, to be honest with you, with that Game 7, the Sixers did not do enough to win the game. I mean, granted, they still had a chance.
Yeah.
But they really didn't do enough to win that game.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that last week.
And we talked about it at halftime, too, of the Game 7. You know?
Yes.
If they were going to lose that game, it was because Toronto wanted it more. And honestly, the way Toronto played, it looked like they just wanted it more.
Yes. I mean, and part of that probably comes with being home, and you have the crowd behind you. And every time you make that little run, the eruptions, and they're right there with you the whole way. And
sure.
And look, you got to give Toronto's crowd credit. They're loud, man. I mean, they are a loud group of basketball fans. There's no doubt about it.
And apparently, when it gets loud enough in there, it feels like the floor shakes.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a construction issue, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. The only time I ever felt that at Wells Fargo was Game 3 when what was it? I forget what. Was the airplane. Joel Embiid's last big time moment in the series. But yeah, so we'll touch on that. But let's focus on the Phillies. We are going to have Andrew Salciunas calling in soon. Obviously, it's an interesting time to come on the air because 2 nights ago, I went to bed going, man, what a gutsy win. There's a team that in the past they would have blown that lead and never had a chance to come back, and they come back and win the game with JT Realmuto and the home run. You're like, oh, man, what a gutsy performance. And then you have last night where they kind of reverted back to that team we were talking about.
Yep.
2-1 lead into the 9th. Nicasio in the game. And that's I want to talk to Salciunas about this. What the hell is with the bullpen saying, oh, we're overworked, oh, we're not available? What does that mean? What does that mean that you're overworked and not available?
I just...
Go out and pitch!
You don't pitch that much.
Just go pitch!
I don't understand. That's...
I don't know.
That's literally your only job. I'm confused.
Pat Neshek decides because he warmed up the night before, he's not available this night? This goes into my whole idea that they warm up too friggin' much. If you're warming up, and I don't know if this is the whole story, and maybe Andrew can shed some light on this. If you're warming up, I don't understand that it's to the point where, oh, I can't pitch the next night, my arm's tired. Then don't friggin' warm up. Just go out there and pitch. The hell's the difference?
I can kind of speak on this just because I pitched throughout high school, and most of the time I came in relief.
Yeah.
And they'll warm you up because it'll maybe be oh, this guy might have a shaky start to the inning, and if he does, you'll go in. But then the pitcher will come out and have a good inning, so then you're still warming up. So by the time that you would come in, that you actually don't, you threw a ton of pitches. So it's you pitched 3 or 4 innings.
Okay, so
in the bullpen.
So is that more on the coaches then? All right, we got to pull him down. He's not going in right now. Let's take him down. He's warmed up enough where if we have to put him in, especially at the professional level. Especially at this level.
Yeah, especially
you got enough coaches that somebody's got to figure that out.
Well, and arms in the bullpen that you have a 7th inning guy, 8th inning guy. At some point you shut him down and be all right, he's not going to throw tonight.
Yes, and I think a lot of this goes back. First of all, they talk about being the team of analytics now. Mm-hmm. You're telling me there's no analytics that say we shouldn't have this guy throw more than this amount of pitches while he's warming up to be ready to go out there. I can't.
You'd think that Gabe, with all of his analytics.
Are you on your Gabe kick right now?
No, I'm just saying. You'd think that him, of all people, with all of his analytics, he'd be the one to figure that out and not let this happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, even without that, right? Even without these guys, the bullpen has been very hit or miss. Mm-hmm. I know Adam Morgan has been mostly good, except for the one game I went to where he gave up 2 home runs and they lost to the Nationals. I know that Sir Anthony's been up and down. The David Robertson injury has killed them. Hector Neris has been good. I think Hector Neris has been more of a surprise than maybe. And Neshek, when he pitches, is good, but he sounds like he's a friggin' head case, this guy.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time there's been this type of issue, I feel like, with Pat Neshek.
And I don't know if it has anything to do. Is it because of Gabe? Is it more Gabe? Like, he put the blame on Gabe, but we've seen that he's also kind of a not necessarily my fault kind of person.
Now,
so
someone
is it
fill
more
me
Gabe?
in.
Like, what is it?
So I haven't seen the full story. Someone fill me in though on this Neshek thing and the interview he gave and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen? Did you hear it?
I heard a clip of it, just a little bit.
Like, what did he basically came out and said?
He basically said something like it was hard to follow.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, well, I was told I was going to warm up and then I didn't. It was too late, so I couldn't go. And then because I couldn't go the night before, I couldn't go. Like, it was like really talking in circles. Let me see if I can find the quote so I can read it straight on to you.
It's just, I can't be okay with that. I'm not saying sound the alarm, season's over, what a lot of these fans are saying, but I can't be okay with these guys just not being willing to go out there and pitch. You're paid to pitch.
Yes.
That's what you're paid to do.
Yes.
You're not even being asked to pick up a bat ever.
No.
Maybe I'm simplifying it too much. And, if I ever had a pitcher on, he'd curse me out. I don't know. It'd be cool.
Probably. It'd be fun to watch you get cursed out by a pitcher. That'd be pretty funny.
Wow.
I think I'd enjoy that.
Would you now?
Probably. Okay, I can't find it. But
all right. Well,
let me see if I can Google it.
I'm going to Google it. You talk. My voice hurts.
I got on the mound and threw 2 pitches.
We forgot Patrick was back.
Neshek said before Tuesday's game, he said, "Is he ready?" And I said, "I'm ready," or "I'm not ready. I've thrown 2 pitches."
It's just like a weird, like,
kind of
talking in circles kind of thing. Like, he doesn't want to outright blame Gabe and the management, but he kind of does.
He basically
blame
said they
Gabe and
asked
the
him
management.
too late to warm up.
Yeah, and then expected him to go in, and then, yeah, it was.
He said that it takes him a minute to warm up, not 20 seconds. I'm like the best in the league at getting ready. My whole career has been coming in like that.
It looked really bad on TV, and people were like, Neshek isn't ready. If critics are going to characterize me as I'm not coming into the game, then no, that was my first pitch. No one saw when the phone call to initially get up was made. That is at the manager.
Yeah,
okay?
That's what I'm saying.
You're coming right at the manager in that moment. And, I mean, look, he's 38. He had Tommy John surgery. I'm sure his warm-up is important to him. I get that.
And they're also just such creatures of habit.
Yeah, but make not 20 seconds, it takes me a minute. Well, okay. So how about I don't know. I used to remember they would come out, they do a long mound visit, they do as long as they could.
Well, that's what they were
buy
saying.
another 40 seconds.
But
here's the other, isn't he going to go out to the mound and warm up again
I
anyway?
think they got like 8 pitches then
okay.
too.
And he had JT go out and talk to, who was out there at that point? Still. Was it Sir Anthony still out there?
Yeah, because this was the game they went to Sir Anthony for second inning for some reason.
They went for the second inning, and so they went to the Sir Anthony for the second inning, and then JT went up for a mound visit, and that's when Gabe called. And then he went over there, started to warm up, and then you could tell that they were telling JT to go out there and have another mound visit to give him more time. Mm-hmm. And if it only takes you 60 seconds to warm up, that should have been enough. So I don't really know. So that's the thing. Like, it doesn't. He kind of implicated himself a little bit in that as well by saying it takes me a minute, not 20 seconds. Okay, well, the 40 seconds that it took JT to get up off the ground, go out to the mound, talk to Sir Anthony for a little bit, and then the time it would have taken Gabe to then go out there, have that conversation with Sir Anthony as well, and then switch off, and then you get a few more when you get out there. So, yeah, blame Gabe all you want. And then, like, also, yes, I do believe some of this falls on Gabe, but I think the way he went about it made him sound like a 2-year-old. And, like,
yeah,
I just feel like he absolutely kind of threw himself under the bus a little bit, too, because the way that you could tell Gabe was trying to manage it, from watching it on TV at least, it looked like he was trying to buy him that time. And it sounds like if he only does need the 1 minute, he had the time.
See, so prior to the game, Kapler said he was going to try and avoid using Neshek Tuesday night.
Okay.
Now, did Neshek? Look, I've been back and forth flying on. Did Neshek come into the game Monday night?
I don't know.
At that point, the game they won.
No, that was Monday.
Yeah, that was Monday that they won.
He did not come in.
Okay,
no.
so he didn't come in. So tell me why you're going to try and avoid using him. So here's his quote. We'll look to be respectful of recent workloads. Neshek has been up in the pen a lot. We've gotten him up on multiple occasions. Sometimes those pitches can be as strenuous as game pitches, and we're always trying to figure out how to evaluate getting loose in the pen versus actually throwing pitches in the game. They can't be that far off. Those last couple pitches that get you where you need to be can't be much different than a game pitch, so I think we have to kind of respect those. You're talking, I don't even know what you just said. What you're doing is making excuses for guys whose job it is to be in the bullpen and get up and warm up and come into the game. Last night you lost because you made it clear, even though you said if it dictated it, you would have put Neshek in. You didn't. So Neshek wasn't in. I guess Neris wasn't available. And I guess Sir Anthony Dominguez wasn't available, right? Are they the three names that they're talking about that they did not put in?
Last night, yeah.
Okay. So you go to Nicasio, who has no business on this friggin' roster. In a 2-1 game at Wrigley Field, where you have a chance to get a really big second win and guarantee yourselves a split of the series, it's just, to me, this is probably why I can't endear myself to the sport of baseball. Because of all these little nuances and these rules that, oh, well, if they warm up. That's like saying, oh, Carson Wentz threw way too many passes on the sideline in between those series. We got to put Nate Sudfeld in there. His arm hurts. And I know it's not a very good analogy.
No, I think it makes sense.
You know what I'm trying to, or Steph Curry shot too many threes in warm-ups. How's he ever going to be able to keep that going all game long? I mean, come on. At some point, you got to say I'm a professional athlete, and I should be able to go out there and get the 3 outs I need to get.
Yeah, I'm not like I don't know how the body works or anything, but I just remember like
you don't. God damn it!
Through getting recruited, I heard like college coaches talking about how they manage the amount of like high level stresses that a pitcher takes, and how that wears on like the body more. So I think what Gabe was trying to say there is like
analytics.
Like the pitches that he's like doing in the bullpen, like if he's trying to like hit a certain spot or like kind of like working harder at throwing the pitch than really just like moving his arm and like getting it loose, then that like wears on the body more.
Which I totally understand that. And that's why, okay, I understand they talk about warming up in the pen. You said it yourself. They have 8 pitches or something when they come out of the pen. Why not work on that there? Yeah. Why work on that? And I maybe there's a reason for it. I'm sure there is. But to me, if they're warming up in the pen and then getting 8 pitches out here, well, then your pen workout should be a little bit lighter. And then when you get out to the mound, start doing what it is you want to do, because it's going to be a different feel anyway, right? One mound is going to feel different than another mound. You hear that all the time with the pitchers and their footing. But
also,
yeah,
it's dark as hell on Wrigley Field.
Yeah, it's super dark out there.
Dark as hell out there.
I went to an afternoon game last August, so I didn't really see that. But it's now I know why they play most. Yeah, they used to play mostly day games.
It's dark as hell out there.
Yeah, it's weird because it's literally in the middle of the city, like it's in Wrigleyville. Like there's bars all over, there's lights all. I don't understand how that happens.
Anyway,
but it lends me to this: do they have enough? I mean, they obviously have enough bodies. To fill out a roster. But do they have enough arms they trust in the bullpen? Because right now, you force a guy like Nicasio into a closing situation. It's not what he's there for.
It's not what he should be there for.
Jess, we talked about this before, and I will continue to say it. I understand the league's trying to go away from it. Guys in the bullpen need roles. You need your long reliever, you need your middle reliever, you need your 7, 8, and 9 guys. And if you're not going to, and that means your 8 guy every now and again might have to be the 9 guy if you got to give your closer a game off because he's pitched 3 games in a row or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, you need to have roles. And it doesn't look like they want to do that. And I just think
they've said they don't want to. It's not that it doesn't look like it. They've
it's a
explicitly
disservice to this
said
team.
they're not going to do that.
That's a game you have to win last night. And it did not happen. Oh, we got a lot of people talking to us
It's
today,
Joe.
huh? Oh. but it says Robert.
That's his first name.
Whoa. Hold on. Breaking news into the show. I am just finding out that Joe's first name is not, in fact, Joe.
It's not. His middle name's Joseph.
I'm offended.
You're offended that you didn't know?
No, I'm offended.
That you have the same name.
That he doesn't like going. I mean, what's wrong with Rob? What's wrong with it, Joe? I expect a comment on there of what's wrong with my damn name.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think he's a third. So he's Robert Joseph Taylor the third, and his dad was Joe, and I don't know if his grandfather was Joe too, but I think they've all been Joe. I don't know why. Why not just name the kid Joe at that point? I don't know.
His last comment is a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
The bullpen's not good.
And it leads me to one of the questions I will be asking Andrew Salciunas.
Yes.
What are they waiting for on calling Craig Kimbrell?
Isn't there like a deadline, a date that they?
Well,
have to
now
wait
it's
till?
saying June.
June
It's
1st?
like after June 1st, you don't have to give up a pick.
Gotcha.
So maybe that's what they're waiting for.
Probably.
But they have to, right? Like they have to consider making this signing at this point, right?
There's like a little bit of a delay on the live stream, so
Jess
he just
said
heard
to
that
explain
first
it.
point. Jesse, explain it.
Which you did.
I did.
It's explained.
I got it.
Thank you, Joe. I just felt.
There's your explanation.
I felt offended, but I'm knocking the mic out of the way here to wave to you. So we're gonna move on. So I mean, they have to, right? They have to understand they can't wait till the trade deadline to get a bullpen arm. You can wait till the trade deadline for a starter, but you got to get a bullpen arm in here right now. My other little issue, but it's not a huge issue, is where this offense still has this tendency to just not be consistent. The runners in scoring position, I think, when they were heading out to Chicago, their homestand, they were terrible with runners in scoring position, which is something the beginning of the season they excelled, right? Guy got in scoring position, he was scoring. It was all the time.
Right.
I'm concerned at the inconsistencies. And once again, I don't know enough baseball to know if that's a coaching thing or if that's a player thing, if that's we're trying to get to the warm weather type of thing. But my hope is as the season goes along, they gel more, and this becomes less and less. These inconsistencies at the plate.
But gelling more has nothing. That's like not even a thing in baseball. Like
Fair.
that doesn't even matter when you're, especially like in a batting lineup. It doesn't matter like it does. Sure, like if they need to be on the same page when they're out on defense, out in the field, when they're doing different things there, more so than when they're hitting. But hitting and like the team gelling, like that doesn't make any sense. It's just a matter of each individual being able to hit or not. And like baseball is a game of streaks. It's like it's such an up and down swing that the one guy's gonna you're seeing it with Bryce Harper. Like he was cold, and now he's starting to feel a little bit more again. The only person who really hasn't had any up or down, has just been consistent, is Gene Segura. He's the only person who's been consistent. Like right now, Rhys Hoskins isn't hitting well at all. He's not hitting. Period. It's terrible. But like he was really reliable in the first part of the season. So it's just it's up and down, and it's just you hope that the lineup is good enough where if someone's slumping, there's enough to pick them up to continue being successful on offense. And right now we're having more points in time where more of them are slumping than not, and there's not enough to be able to pick it up to put together some sort of offense to win. That makes sense.
It does. You make perfect sense. Real quick, is Andrew calling our board or calling you?
The board.
Yes, he is. I spoke that one into existence. Joining us now from 97.5, you can catch him on the Fanatic Baseball Hour every night at 6 o'clock. It is Mr. Andrew Salciunas. Andrew, thanks for being on the Man That's with Rob and Jess.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Andrew, we're talking a lot about the Phillies here, and it's an interesting day to talk about them after the bullpen situation last night. Can you try and explain to us what is the plan with the bullpen and when to use guys and when not to use guys?
I don't think there is a plan, right? I don't think there is a plan because Gabe Kapler wants to go so much into analytics and matchups, which, let's face it, so far this season, Gabe Kapler has actually done a pretty good job. This is the first series where we're really sort of starting to talk about this stuff. It's the first time I'm finding myself scratching my head so far this season. So I don't really think that there is a plan. I think he's done an okay job, but it has been really confusing and concerning these last two games because it is such a big matchup. Playing the Chicago Cubs, this is a time for us as Phillies fans and people in the media to sort of compare the Phillies with one of the elite teams in baseball. And so far, even though they won the first game of the series, he had a blunder in that game as well, not getting Pat Neshek ready in time. So now 2 games in a row against a formidable opponent, Gabe Kapler's made some mistakes.
So, you obviously just kind of touched on this a little bit. The bullpen snafu on Monday night with Pat Neshek, we've been talking a lot about this, as our show has just started, and, everyone's been talking a lot about this, and Pat Neshek has given some explanation as to what happened, and he kind of seemed to blame it on Gabe, and so there's kind of some wondering there. What would you say is kind of, who's to blame there? Who was at fault there? What do you think really kind of happened with that issue?
Well, on Monday night, I'm blaming Gabe Kapler for what happened Monday night. First of all, he made the mistake of going to Sir Anthony Dominguez for a second inning. In his career, statistically, he is not good at pitching a second inning, or at least if let's say he finishes an inning going 1/3, and then he sits on the bench and then goes back out. That second inning that he enters, he has statistically not pitched well, and he's also pitched poorly on the second day of a back-to-back, so Sir Anthony Dominguez is really just a one-inning guy, and Gabe Kapler, even though he only threw 9 pitches in that first inning, Gabe Kapler thought that he'd be okay going in a second inning, which he was wrong there. And what Gabe Kapler should have done in that first game with the Cubs, he needed to have somebody ready before Sir Anthony Dominguez was going out there for the second inning, just in case something like that happened, and especially after he walked the first batter on 4 pitches. It was a 4-pitch walk, and you didn't see Kapler make a call to the bullpen. And then when he walks his second batter, that's when you see Kapler. I remember on the broadcast on NBC Sports Philadelphia, they showed Kapler yelling to JT Realmuto to go out to speak to Dominguez, and that's when they called to the bullpen to try to get Neshek ready. And if you've ever played a sport, whether it's baseball, basketball, whatever it is, if you're not loose, if you're not ready, you're not going to perform to your best ability. And because this is the biggest stage in professional sports, being Major League Baseball, Neshek knew that he was not ready. And that is Gabe Kapler's fault. So I'm going to put the blame on Kapler for Monday night. Last night, this is just Neshek being Pat Neshek. We've seen it in the past where he has his own sort of program where he can't pitch on certain days, or if he's pitched too many times in a certain amount of days, he's going to tell the managers right away that he's not ready to go. And it's not even a feel thing. It's not like, oh, my arm hurts today. It's just, hey, listen, I've reached my quota over the last couple of days, so I'm not going to go in today. I don't know if that's a Neshek thing or a trainer thing or a agent sort of driven thing, but day 2, last night, I put that all on Neshek. Day 1 was on Gabe Kapler.
Well, the bullpen has had its ups and downs this year, and I mean, obviously, injuries to David Robertson doesn't help. Sir Anthony's been a little bit up and down. You've had good outings from Neris and Adam Morgan, but obviously the name that keeps coming up is the post-June 1st is Craig Kimbrell, and I'm curious if you think that this team, because of what they did this offseason, feels any more of a sense of urgency to maybe go out and make that sort of move after June 1st.
Here's where I'm hesitant, just because it's May 22nd right now, and the Phillies have a 2.5-game lead over the Braves for first place in the National League East with this roster. So with all of the ups and downs, they are still in first place of the National League East, and the bullpen, like you just mentioned, you said Hector Neris has had some good outings. They're missing David Robertson, and he's probably going to be out for at least another month. He's probably going to be out a little bit longer than that. But they're doing this all with the current roster as it's currently constructed. I'm not really too quick to pay a guy like Craig Kimbrell or even Dallas Keuchel for the starting rotation a lot of money for a rental. I'm almost more so at the point where I would rather wait until the Major League Baseball trade deadline and see who's available at that point.
So, additionally with the pitching, so, obviously the bullpen's been an issue. We've been talking about the bullpen a lot, but when it comes to their starting rotation, they started the season with a rotation of Nola, Arrieta, Eflin, Pivetta, and then Vince Velasquez when he was finally ready after that first week or so. Now they've added in Eichhoff, giving you some good stuff, along with Cole Irvin, and, they sent Pivetta down, but he's pitching really, really well in AAA. What do you see them doing going forward with their starting pitching rotation?
I think, first off, it's the same thing. Maybe come the trade deadline, they will eventually make a move to bring in somebody who could be a number 2 or a number 3 starter. But with the people that they have right now on the roster, with Vince Velasquez on the injured list, with Nick Pivetta pitching pretty well in AAA, I think Gabe Kapler owes it to guys like Cole Irvin and Jared Eichhoff. He owes it to them to give them a couple more starts. Cole Irvin is 2-0 in both of his starts, and he pitched very well in both of his starts. So even though Nick Pivetta, who's been in the major leagues already, it's not like he's only made 2 starts like Cole Irvin. He's been in the major leagues. He's had some pretty good games, but he got sent down for a reason. Even though he's pitching well in AAA, I'm not about to just bring him up just to bring him up. You have to give Cole Irvin his time. If he continues to pitch well, and we'll see tonight if he pitches well against the Cubs, if he continues to pitch well and doesn't get figured out, then you're not just going to take him out just for Nick Pivetta. In Vince Velasquez's case, he has not pitched well in his career. I know he had some big strikeout games. He had the 18 strikeout game way back when, like 3 years ago. But it's not like he's pitched well enough to have the status of, when he's off the injured list, we should just plug him right back in. And Jared Eichhoff, just like Cole Irvin, he has done a good enough job to stay in the rotation. He hasn't done anything for Gabe Kapler or for Matt Klentak or for you and I or whoever's running the ship to just say, you know what, when Vince is ready, we're going to take Eichhoff out. When Pavetta's ready, we're going to take Eichhoff out. He has done a good enough job. If I think somebody's going to fall apart, I think eventually it might be Eichhoff, because I think he hangs his curveball a little too much. I don't think he has the velocity for Major League pitching, but he has done a good enough job for you to not take him out. So right now, the 5 that you have is the 5 that you're going to roll with, because you're not going to take out Nola, you're not going to take out Arrieta, and you're not going to take out Eflin.
Talking with Andrew Salciunas from 97.5 The Fanatic, and Andrew, on the other side of the game, on the offensive side, it's been a little inconsistent for the Phillies, back and forth. And one of the guys, the big name, the one that everybody's talking about, is Bryce Harper, who looked over the weekend when he hit the moonshot on Saturday and then another homer on Sunday to be coming out of it. I mean, is this just a reaction of a fan base who's not used to a guy like a Bryce Harper where, hey, yeah, listen, he's going to have a streak like this, but don't worry. The time will come where you're going, oh, okay, that's why he was worth the money.
Yeah, I don't even think it's just not being used to a guy like Bryce Harper. For a lot of people, it's just not used to having high expectations for the Phillies, right? Before this season, when's the last time you really had expectations for them to make the playoffs? That was back in maybe 2012 when they didn't make the playoffs. So I think a lot of people had these high expectations for the team, and the main reason for those high expectations was Bryce Harper, was the guy who you waited over 100 days to sign a contract, and that contract being $330 million for 13 years. So I think it's just not being used to winning baseball. It's not being used to having that star like you mentioned. So I think that's kind of why you got that reaction. But for the most part, those boos, I go to the ballpark a lot. Those boos, it's not every single fan in attendance. It's a couple of nitwits who are probably drunk when they're doing it, or they probably feel strong about themselves. It makes them forget about their miserable lives to boo a guy like Bryce Harper. So I wouldn't worry about that, especially if you're Bryce Harper. Don't worry about a couple of nitwits. But what he's doing, that slump that he went on, it's not the first time we've seen it. Right. If you guys know who Matt Gelb is, he writes for The Athletic. I suggest you check out his Twitter account. He put out a tweet last week of Bryce Harper's most notable 15-game slumps. This wasn't the worst of them. He has had worse 15-game slumps, and he still finishes the seasons batting around 250, 260, hitting 30 home runs, walking over 100 times. So I wouldn't be concerned about Bryce Harper at all.
So as the season started, the I guess the lowest point on the offensive lineup was, Cesar Hernandez for a period of time. And, when they made a couple adjustments here and there to put Scott Kingery in there at second base and hitting there. He was playing really, really well, doing really well in the lineup in that spot, playing well in the field, kind of doing everything. And then unfortunately Scott got hurt, and it was a shame because he had been playing so well. But in that time, Cesar has really, really stepped up and has been, one of the better hitters on the team right now, is going through a really, really good stretch. What do you think is the best move to do with Scott Kingery? Because obviously when they put him in there, he's still playing really well. He's still hitting really well. What do you think is the best idea for them there?
Yeah, Jess, it's crazy because Kingery, even though he had a pretty bad game at the beginning yesterday, he still ends up having a huge double late in the game, scores one of those 2 runs off of the Andrew McCutchen single, so he's still finding a way to be productive even if he starts out a game slow. The Cesar Hernandez thing is amazing. Guy's hitting over 375 in the month of May, so the way he's playing, you can't take him out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. So what you do with Scott Kingery, I'm guessing, is what exactly did with him last year. Wherever you can play him, wherever you find a spot, you play him. Now, the biggest concern I have for Scott Kingery, and we know that he started in center field last night, I don't think Scott Kingery has a major league outfielder's arm. We've seen him try to play shortstop this season. We saw him try to play shortstop last season, and he did not have the arm from shortstop. There was also points last year from third base where he didn't have the arm. So what makes Gabe Kapler and the Phillies think that he could play center field? I think they just believe that he is a strong, high baseball IQ, higher than Odubel Herrera's, as we've seen multiple times, and also the way that he can make up for it with his offense, the way he can hit, the way he can run. He's an all-around very good baseball player. Just the one thing I'm concerned about is the arm. So I think you just do what you did last year. If somebody's struggling, you find a way to get him into that lineup. I was actually surprised they didn't do it at third base first because Franco has had a down month of May. Mm-hmm. But now that he's had 2 straight games with a double, maybe he starts heating up a little bit. And maybe center field becomes the home of Scott Kingery because it's not like Odubel Herrera is making much of a case to keep his job out there.
No, and Odubel's always been a guy for me that I've found it really hard to love him. But so, I mean, maybe that is the move. You get Scott Kingery out there. But listen, Andrew, the team in the first quarter of the season, they went 19-14 against teams with losing records. Obviously, some of those numbers can be skewed if a team's 0-1, whatever it might be. But that you'd want that record, I feel like, to be better if you're aiming for a playoff spot. What are some of the keys between now and, say, the midpoint of the season that you see this team having to make to make that record a little bit better? Because they're already doing pretty well against teams with winning records.
So we already know about the concerns with the starting pitching. We've known that during the offseason. We knew it during spring training. We knew it at the beginning of the season. The starting pitching is what the starting pitching is. And fortunately for the Phillies, they've actually held their own. They haven't really hurt you all that much. So the key for me now until the middle of the season is consistency throughout the entire lineup. Because Bryce Harper was on that 15-game slump, but Rhys Hoskins was playing very well. Mm-hmm. Now, Bryce Harper's starting to heat up a little bit, and Rhys Hoskins looks like he can't hit the baseball. All of a sudden, like before last night, he was 2 for his last 27. So Rhys Hoskins has been struggling mightily, and we've seen that throughout the entire season. Now, the beauty of it for the Phillies lineup is that there are other guys that can pick them up. When Bryce Harper was struggling, Rhys was playing well, JC Realmuto was playing well, Maikel Franco was playing well. Now Bryce Harper's heating up a little bit, Rhys is slumping, you're seeing Franco slumping, Realmuto's staying around that 280 range, so he's doing a good job. So they are picking each other up. But the biggest thing for me is that consistency throughout the entire lineup, that 1 through 8. Like McCutchen getting on base. If he can continue to do that, and Gene Segura continues to hit around 300, that would be huge. Bryce Harper knocking in runs, Hoskins knocking in runs. This could be the most dangerous lineup in all of baseball as long as everybody's putting it together.
So going into tonight, tonight's could be a really fun, really interesting game. A little bit of nostalgia there as we, watch Cole Hamels take the mound for the first time against the Phillies. What do you think we can expect from this Phillies lineup against a guy like Cole Hamels? And, on the opposite side for the other Cole who's pitching, how do you think he's going to kind of fare against a really competitive opposing team?
Our Cole, I'll start with our Cole, with Cole Irvin. It's going to be very interesting. Like, this is going to be the moment where I say, okay, I trust this guy the rest of the season, or I say, okay, he's overmatched. Because the Cubs lineup is very dangerous. They're probably going to have Javi Baez back. He He was only a pinch hitter yesterday because of the heel injury, but they expected him back in the starting lineup tonight. So if Baez is in the starting lineup, that's another guy that you have to worry about, as well as Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo and Wilson Contreras. They have a very strong lineup. Plus, it's in Wrigley Field. So if you're a longtime baseball fan, like I'm sure Cole Irvin is, he knows what it is, what Wrigley Field is, and now he has to pitch under those lights in Wrigley Field. I'm sure there's going to be people watching. He's going to have family watching. Even though it is his third start already, it's still only his third start. And one was against the Royals. The other one was against another below 500 team in the Rockies. This is going to be, through so far, the best team he's going to face. So it'll be very interesting to see how he handles that pressure moment. For the Phillies, with Cole Hamels pitching, it's going to be weird because the guys that are on this team now, they weren't around during this run. So in terms of the nostalgic feeling, it's going to be nostalgic for you and I, but it's not going to be nostalgic for the guys in the starting lineup. It's not going to be nostalgic for Gabe Kapler. He wasn't around, so those guys don't mind. But with Cole Hamels pitching, Bryce Harper has actually hit lefties pretty well this year. Gene Segura's hit lefties well this year. McCutcheon's getting on base against lefties. But back to the whole Rhys Hoskins thing, his splits, which is weird, you would expect a right-handed power hitter like Hoskins to be able to hit well against lefties. He actually hits worse against lefties than he does righties in his career, so that's going to be a tough point for him to try to get out of a slump. So I don't want to say I'm concerned because the Phillies' bats have actually hit lefties pretty well this year, and Cole Hamels might have more nerves than the other guys in the Phillies lineup because he's pitching against his old team, where the guys on the team for the Phils, that doesn't mean nothing to them because they weren't around with Cole.
All right, Andrew, before we let you go, let's prognosticate out, right? We get to the trade deadline, and the Phillies are obviously in a playoff race. If they were to add, you had mentioned earlier that you look at the bullpen market possibly if they what do you think they would be a bigger need at that point? Would it be a starting pitcher for them, or is it going to be a bullpen arm to kind of solidify those guys coming out of the pen?
I think it ends up being a starting pitcher, in my opinion, or at least that's what I would prefer. I want a guy who has pitched in the playoffs. I want a guy who has pitched in these moments, going for a playoff race, going for a pennant race, trying to get into the World Series, trying to win a World Series game if they are fortunate to get that far. I've said it all season long. I'm going to say it again. If there is a guy that's out there, the guy that I want would be Madison Bumgarner. And I know he's not the same Madison Bumgarner who pitched almost every single inning when the Giants won the World Series over the Royals, but he has that experience. He is a lefty, and I love having a left-handed starting pitcher because come playoff time, you're going to do a three-man rotation, maybe a fourth guy, but for the most part, it's a three-man rotation. And imagine having Aaron Nola, who I believe will get back on pace to what he was like last year. Imagine having Jake Arrieta, who has playoff experience, and then also Madison Bumgarner, who has playoff experience. The bullpen has held their own so far, and I think once David Robertson comes back, hopefully healthy, once Victor Arano comes back, hopefully healthy, and they get all their other guys together, they're going to pick up bullpen players. But right now, it's not like there's a guy in the bullpen on another team that I go, I want that guy. He's going to be available. The Giants aren't in a good spot this year. Madison Bumgarner's on his final year of his deal. I think he's going to be a guy that's available. It's going to be tough for the Giants to part ways because he is a fan favorite out there. But I think he'll be available, and I think he'd be a huge asset to this Phillies rotation.
Andrew, want to give you an opportunity to plug your new show over there on the Fanatic.
Oh, yeah, thanks, guys. So, it's the Fanatic Baseball Show. It airs every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 to 7 o'clock. It's basically like a pregame show because, as we know, most Phillies games start at 7 o'clock, or if they're in Chicago, 8 o'clock, or on the West Coast at 10 o'clock. But for the most part, the games are at 7 o'clock, so it's sort of like a pregame show. I do the starting lineups. I do the pitching matchups and some statistics from the previous night or the previous series. So there's that. But what I like to do a little different than other pregame shows, I give people the opportunity to actually call in and sort of talk about it while they're making their drive down to the ballpark, or if they're at home just waiting to watch the game. So it's a good way for people to interact because we know it. The Sixers have been such a huge topic. Football season's right around the corner, so football is going to be a huge topic. So Phillies baseball is becoming somewhat of a niche sport for people. So for the people that are the real diehards, or for the people that want to hear Phillies talk, it's your chance daily, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 to 7 o'clock. And at the beginning of every show, I always have an analyst. Last night, we had Jim Salisbury on. He'll be on once a week. So every day at 6 o'clock, you'll be able to hear from somebody that is at the ballpark to help pregame the show.
It's a great place to get your baseball information leading into a game. Andrew Salciunas, thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully we talk to you again down the line.
Yeah, whenever you guys want. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. So there you go. So we got some baseball knowledge.
He was really worried about his dog barking. His dog only barked like once.
I didn't even hear the
he
dog
was like,
bark.
He was like, can we do it tomorrow? Do you only record on Wednesdays? My dog's going to bark. And I was like, we don't really care about the dog. Come on our show.
Please, yeah. Yeah.
Come on, we'll have fun. We don't care.
Yeah.
We love dogs. It's fine. It's fine.
A dog barking might be the best sound that comes out of this show sometimes. Yeah. And Jess.
Yeah, there you go.
I just, insult myself before she can insult me. Because I know that's where that was headed.
Probably.
Oh my God.
No, I wouldn't have said that.
You would have. All right, should we do, before we break into another sport, should we do our This is Florida Now? It's only about 10 minutes till 4. Is that okay?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Is that okay with you? Do you want to play your stupid music?
Yeah, I'm going to play my music.
Do I ever get to pick music for this segment or
Nope.
no? That's just not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
You're a jerk.
Yeah, well, you'll live. You'll live.
I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with first. All right, we're going to go with this one. A Florida man was jailed after stealing some snacks from a convenience store, chatting up an ATM, then charging a deputy. So,
when you say charging a deputy, like
charged at
like
him.
a rhino, like charging like a rhinoceros at a deputy.
I can only imagine.
I'm more concerned.
I want to know why rhino was the first animal that came to your
I
head
don't know.
for that.
I just feel like the rhino's the charging
That's
animal.
fair.
What
That's
animal
fair.
charges?
I don't know. I don't know what I would have
Every
gone
other
with.
one runs, but I feel like a rhino
Bears. That's
charges.
fair.
Bear claws. I don't know. I feel like the rhino charges.
Yeah.
It's got the horn in the front.
That's fair. Hey, that's fair.
But I'm more concerned with this story. I would love to know.
What kind of snacks?
No. I want to know what the conversation was like with the ATM machine. Was this a hey, how are you, just like talking to it because you're so obliterated, or was this a hey, how you doing conversation? Like, is he trying to pick up the ATM machine?
Well, it says that after he was charged, the deputy, after he charged the deputy, he was quickly detained, and inside his wallet was a rolled dollar bill which contained methamphetamines. So
There it is.
So, like, here's the question.
So it's explained.
Well, yeah, but was he looking at the ATM like maybe it was a full-figured woman, and maybe he wanted the company of a full-figured woman? But ATMs. But then again, I guess there is the thin ATM.
It also says,
right?
No word on exactly what was discussed between Florida man and the ATM.
That's bogus. That needs to be found out. To me, that's the story. If I'm the editor of the newspaper or the website, that's the story. And listen, Jess, I like to delve into these things because it makes them that much more fun for me. You look at me like I'm not actually thinking about that at home, but it makes it more fun.
Oh, that's fine.
Like, was it a thin ATM? Was it a thicker ATM? How was he looking at the ATM? Was it in a one-night stand sort of way? I don't know. I really would like to find that out, but we never will because, well, let's face it. This guy might do it again soon, so maybe we will find out.
Who knows? We might know.
Does it say what area of Florida? Do you get that?
Because
that's always good to know, too. I didn't realize how big Florida was until I was in an area I didn't know existed this past week.
What's up? WAUSAU.
All right. Wowsaw? I don't know. All right, go ahead. Keep it going.
The next three that I have involve driving.
Yes.
So, a Florida man was recorded driving US 98 highway while standing in the sunroof of his Cadillac. So there's a video that goes along with it. Oh. The man has the car on cruise control, and he is
at 98.
No, it was
on the highway.
Route 98.
Oh! I thought he was going 98. Jesus.
No, it doesn't say how fast he was driving, but he has it on cruise control. He's sitting.
I definitely saw that clip.
On top of his car, just like arms spread.
Like full on Titanic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm picturing.
Driving down the highway, and it was a like off-duty officer who like took a video of him and like called the cops to.
Now, it's funny you bring up these driving incidents because, as I said, I was with Floridians this past weekend, and I was talking to my wife's friend's husband, and he said to me, he said, he goes, one of the things I just can't get used to down here is they just do whatever they want while driving. There's no rules. He said they do whatever they want. Everything's fine. Everything gets away with it.
Yes.
Oh, my God. I'm now watching the video. And is there someone else in that car?
No.
I thought he had a passenger. I
You're
was like, is this
absolutely
person?
gonna have to take that clip and put that over top, like you did with the grocery cart.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the other thing that he said is that he'd rather be arrested than go home to his wife.
Jesus.
It all makes sense. But no, I was hearing that these people just do whatever the hell they want on the road.
Ridiculous.
And there's one side of
it
it
is.
right there. Let me hear another one.
A drunk Florida man crashes riding lawnmower into police cruiser.
I mean,
Have to be
I have a
smarter than
feeling.
that.
Yeah, but I have a feeling. Like, was he driving it on the road, or he was just like cutting his lawn?
It
and
sounded
hit it?
like the police car was parked, and then like the officer just heard like a crash and saw that his like rear bumper was like
Yeah. See,
damaged.
now I gotta feel like that's not just Florida. I feel like someone would do that anywhere. Yeah, because
But of course,
On
we
the-
know about it.
yes,
from
in Florida. Well, and that was the other thing. Their media gets this, and because they know this, that's why they cover this stuff.
Because
Like
it's
it's taken
hilarious.
off a mind. But it's like a lot of these things probably happen in other places, but the Florida media has made it a point
Oh yeah.
to cover this. It's fantastic.
He finds these on a website called thefloridaman.com.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Which is amazing in
It
itself.
really is.
Well, you talking about the media, I guess I have to transition to this one.
This one's my favorite.
And I'll like play the audio of like the news report
Here.
because they obviously were not. Oh yeah, I could I do that? Just plug it in.
Absolutely.
We think. Whatever it takes to get me to not hear Jimmy Butler. Butler. No, I want to hear Jimmy Butler forever. Jimmy Buffett anymore. Why is the phone still ringing?
I don't know.
know.
I don't know
I'm
if
not
this
going
is
to
gonna
answer
be
it because
too
we know
loud
we've
or
done
not.
that multiple times and we get like a fax machine sound. Oh, I got to turn it up.
In Florida, authorities in Punta Gorda say that a woman pulled an alligator out of her yoga pants during a traffic stop on Monday. Do I need to say that again? Yeah. The woman was a passenger
Oh wait,
Oh
it's
no.
loading now.
in a car and pulled over for running a stop sign. Then officers asked the 25-year-old woman a standard question, do you have anything else? That's when she busted out the gator from her pants. I can't believe I'm saying that. She also told them that she had 41 turtles in the vehicle. The animals are regulated, so she and the driver were cited for having them. Now wildlife officials took the animals, released them back into the wild.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh
That's really
no. Oh
loud.
no.
I don't want Jimmy Buffett that loud ever.
No one does.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phones here. Wait. Just okay. Okay. Let me just. So obviously it's a baby alligator.
Yeah,
We hope.
yeah. There's like a little picture of it. It's probably like
Now-
the size of your like
now-
your hand.
The logical person. So I have two sides of my brain, right? The logical, the hopeful side, and then the actual side, which can sometimes be a little gross. The hopeful side is she had the alligator down her pants in hopes of just stealing it and going away. The actual side is much different.
I don't know. You know what? Don't even say it. I don't even want you to say it. We're not going there. We're not going there.
Maybe.
Nope, we're not going there.
I'm just saying,
Nope,
maybe
we're not going
she
there.
wanted a specific act performed.
Okay, we're
I
done.
Think, I think it was probably like hiding it because it said that she also had 40 small turtles.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
she's into that. I don't know. I don't know.
moving on.
I'm
We're
putting it
moving
out
on.
there,
No,
Jess.
we're moving on.
I don't know how
I
well
think
40
this needs to
small
be put
turtles
out there.
fit in your
No,
pants.
we're moving on.
Yeah.
Someone from Florida is actually calling you right now.
Yeah. Are they calling because there's people
Are they
putting
watching?
alligators in? Look, it's yoga. This isn't like baggy pants.
No,
if
that's
you
what
put an
makes it
alligator in yoga pants, it's pressed up against everything. There's no room for this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, but what if you were just wearing yoga pants and you're like, man, I have to hide this alligator?
What the? That's all I'm
It's
saying
also-
is,
she
if you
also-
were planning on kidnapping an alligator and putting it in your pants,
Maybe
you
she
would
wasn't
think you would
planning
wear-
on it.
No,
Maybe
I
she
think
saw
it was,
the alligator and was like,
I think that she was
"I
getting
need
pulled
that."
over and was like, I need to hide this alligator and put it in her pants, and then it fell out because it said that it fell out at like while she was talking to the officer.
Do they have the size of the alligator?
It was like this. It wasn't like an enormous alligator.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, was it really tiny? Because then maybe this would make more sense.
No, I
Because
mean,
even this. Now look.
It's like the size of like a wiener dog.
Now look. My cousin had a friend in college who illegally had a pet alligator in his dorm.
Great.
No, it's not. It's not even the size of like a wiener dog. It's like a size of like.
Okay,
like
that's
if you
like a
put like your
lizard.
two
Let me
hands
see.
together, it's probably like this big.
I got to see this.
Yeah, it's like a lizard.
Yeah, it's like a
Okay, all right. That's not the
That's
vision
different.
that I had in my head of a
Me
baby
neither.
alligator. So my sexual idea is no longer relevant.
Great.
Can you
Stop bringing
wait?
them up.
Can you just imagine the officer like maybe like told the person to step out of their car and like, is that an alligator in your pants?
Or are you just happy to see me?
Oh my.
Jess, this is an adult show. We can have adult humor from
It's
time
not,
to time.
though.
We can have adult humor.
It's not.
Everyone that listens, at least a teenager, we can have adult humor on here. Adult humor's fun. Oh, man. Florida,
You've done it again.
you never fail to amaze us. You never fail to amaze us. Wow. I don't even know what to say. That story right there. And I think because initially the size of the gator I had in mind was...
It's really up to interpretation from the beginning.
Yeah. I'm actually more...
I
is it-
love.
He
I love
started
the
playing the
news
video,
reporter,
and I
though.
was like, what?
I love the news reporter. She's like, wait, am I saying this right?
Yeah.
Like,
it was weird how relieved I was when I saw that it was like this big instead of this big.
Yeah,
It-
well, because you think, like,
What I think,
how
Jess...
do you even get it in there? Like, how do you even maneuver that quickly enough without, like, the alligator getting upset?
There's probably ways. I don't know. I'll move on.
Like, that's what I wonder. Like, because I didn't know it was that small either. But, like, thinking it's like an alligator like this
Look,
size, right?
I'm
like,
coming-
how do you just, like, make that?
I'm coming from someone who's never worn yoga pants, but I just assume when you see yoga pants that they're very form-fitting. They're
are.
very tight. There's really not a lot of room
For alligators.
for the alligator to be in the pants. I just don't think that's going to work.
There's not a lot of room for alligators. There's not.
But I could have taken. Never
Nope.
mind. Never mind. I was gonna say that's why guys don't wear them because not a lot of room for the baby alligators. You get it? Get the
Some
joke?
of them would.
You get? Oh wow. Dak would right?
would!
There you
Dak
go. I gave you a Dak joke right there. I came through. Finally, I have a Dak joke in my arsenal, and it made Jess really happy. So.
I'm so happy right now.
And that
you know,
would-
that's honestly why I'm so happy football season is coming, because my Dak jokes are back.
And that's how we'll transition into our football talk.
Dak sucks.
Oh God. There was a
Love it.
huge. There was a.
I really got into it with a couple Cowboys fans yesterday. I'm going to share that later.
Yeah, somebody put out there, and I don't know if it was you that said something to him, talked about Dak's record against each of the teams in the NFC East, and because of that, he's the best quarterback in the NFC East. There's no question. And someone said,
I could probably list about 6 quarterbacks in
And
the
someone
NFC East
said-
on 4 teams that are
someone
better than
said, no, all it proves is that Dak is thankful that Zeke Elliott's parents decided to have unprotected sex many years ago.
me. Yeah, you better hope that Zeke doesn't.
What, dude? Is this guy kidding? How is there not going to be a suspension now?
Well, he was told that the next time he had an issue off the field, it was going to be either a year-long suspension, or he was going to be removed from the league.
Yeah, but now I have heard nothing since this happened.
No, I haven't either.
I'm
I
just
should.
Yeah. I mean, it's on video. The Cowboys fans can't say it wasn't him this time. You watch him shove the security guard to the ground.
He's just a piece of garbage.
He's a creep. Just like his owner, the biggest scumbag in the history of scumbags, Jerry Scumbag Jones.
I really hope Amari Cooper holds out.
God, that would be
Dude,
awesome.
That would just add to the happiness.
It would be fantastic. But
I don't
let's
even know if he's at OTAs. I haven't even looked. I don't even care.
no. But let's talk about our beloved Philadelphia Eagles.
Sure.
As OTAs have started back up. A lot of different areas for us to touch on here with the Eagles. First, which kind of came as a surprise to many people, Carson Wentz, no limitations. Out there, able to do everything. I think a month ago in April when they said the back wasn't healed yet, I don't think any of us thought this was going to be the case. But it is. And
He kind of hinted last week that it might be.
Let's talk about last
he
week.
said something. Well,
let's talk about
let's
last
talk
week.
about it. I have inside information that he's not sharing with people, and I'm just gonna keep that to myself because I'm not. I like Carson, and I'm not.
That's not what you're going to tell me either.
I might not. I might have already. I don't know. No, I don't think I told you. But either way, we're
No,
not.
the
I'm
thing
not gonna say it. I'm
you
not gonna
told
say
me,
it on air.
Yeah. But the thing you told me that you weren't sure, he actually put out in the media with his diet and changing how he's eating. He said he's not going to get into what he's doing.
Right. That's my inside information. I know what he's doing.
Yeah. And you did share that with me. But he did touch on it. He did kind of say, he's looked at Tom Brady and what he's done and this and that. So,
yeah, and he might talk about it later, but I think it's just one of those things that he doesn't want everybody kind of, and we got into it because, my mom was...
Jess had dinner with Carson Wentz, everybody,
I had dinner with Carson Wentz. My mom was a fitness competitor. My brother's an athlete. My sister's an athlete. Like, my brother worked really hard last summer to, lose a good bit of weight and get in really good shape to come back for lacrosse season his sophomore year. And, my sister is, a varsity athlete as a sophomore, killing it everywhere. And like I said, my mom was doing fitness competitions. So, they're very familiar with the different diets and workout plans and eating programs that, give you the best, the most energy, make your body work the best and things like that. So we were talking about that, and I think that's kind of where we get into it. But I don't blame him for not wanting to, sit there and answer questions about specifics about what he's doing, because then he's going to look at that. He's going to get he knows very well that everything about what he does and says is extremely scrutinized. And it's a blessing and a curse when it comes to being a Philadelphia athlete. That's what it is. And, I'm sure he just didn't want all of that to be, every single step to be questioned. If he's doing enough of this, doing enough of that, if this is going to matter, if that's going to matter. I think that, he just, the way he described it to us was, he's been hurt the last 2 years and it sucks. He hates it. He hates being hurt. He hates not being out there. He hates the rehab process, and he hates having to, go through that, which anyone would. I'm sure he's not the first athlete in the history of the world to say that. But, he just wants to.
And he has to hear about it all the time from everyone around him.
And that comes back into, blessing and a curse to be a Philly athlete. He knows that, he loves being here. He loves this city. He loves playing here. He said there's nothing like playing at the Link, coming out of the tunnel. But at the end of the day, it's also one of the most scrutinized sports cities in the world. And, he knows that that's part of it, which he's fine with. But, there's the sections of, his life that he tries to keep private. And, this is one of them because it's going to get questions. It's going to get scrutinized. But he's just at the point where he, he wants to do everything because sometimes there's nothing you can do, right? Like the ACL, there was really nothing more he could have done differently. With the back, it was just over time. Nothing really more he could have done. He's trying to do everything that he can do personally on his own side to make sure he and his body is in the best possible spot to stay healthy, without all the extra outside factors. Now, obviously it's football. It's a rough game. The outside factors are going to be important. But, trying to do kind of everything he can there to make sure. And, he said to us when we were sitting there, he was like, well, we asked him, I don't remember what. And he was like, well, technically I'm not cleared yet. and we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, yeah, we're not going to sit here and ask what he's thinking and what he thinks when or whatever. But, I think he
probably had an idea at that point, right?
I think, yeah. And I think, not the biggest surprise to me more so than the back is the lack of knee brace. I think that's the biggest takeaway from that. Not that he's cleared to participate fully and there's no limitations. The fact that knee brace is gone. Because I think that knee brace, he said it was heavy. I think it was just a constant reminder that was there. It could be an issue. Not having the knee brace.
Absolutely. It's a mental thing. A lot of that stuff is mental. There's no doubt about it. I'm trying to pull up his audio to kind of just further along what Jess has been saying that he said in his press conference yesterday. It's just taking forever to load. But if it gets up here, we'll play it for you. And then, so you can hear it from him. But it was nice to see video of him out there playing football again, moving, throwing the ball to Deshaun Jackson. That was nice. It was a lot of fun stuff.
That was another thing that we talked about. We said, we were so happy. We got to pull out our old jerseys. Deshaun's back. And he was like, we're so happy Deshaun's back. And Carson goes, I am so happy Deshaun's here. He was like, I am so happy. He's ecstatic about that one. But he looked like himself.
Will we be hanging out with him? Do you know?
What do you mean?
On June 6th. Are we hanging out with Carson?
Well, first of all, it's June 7th.
Yeah, that too.
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know if it came
Also,
out.
we really shouldn't be talking about that on air either.
Just put it out there. All I said was hanging out. I mean, we could be at a barn in Philly.
We might be at a barn in Philly. Who knows?
Could be at a bar in New
I
Jersey.
thought you said barn.
Barn?
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh.
Look, Jess, I
That's
like you,
new.
but if we ever, if we all hang out, we're not going to go hang out in a barn. I'm just going to put that out
fair,
there.
I
now.
heard a barn also, but
Thank you.
I'm just going to shut up now. You can keep talking.
But anyway, I think it's. Don't you agree that he looked more like himself than we've seen him look in a while?
Yeah, I mean, I only saw 1 or 2 videos, but from what I saw,
just that little bit.
his legs he looked like he had a little more jump in his legs, a little more speed, which you could tell he was laboring during the season last year, trying to escape the pocket and get outside.
He just didn't look like himself. He
No.
didn't look right.
No, and I think part of it was mentally he knew how important last year was, right?
Right.
They come off a Super Bowl that Nick Foles won, and he knew it was his time, and he wasn't healthy. And I think that really bothered him mentally.
I'm sure.
I mean, if any competitor, that's going to bother mentally. But, Adam Schefter said today, because you hear these idiots that call in, and they're like, oh, because now the big talk is his contract.
Right.
Right? And if he's going to get it. And you hear these idiots calling to the radio, and, oh, you can't give him that money. He's never played a full season, blah, blah, blah. You had your argument with the guy on Twitter about the full season. And,
Idiots.
And it just
Idiots
continues
everywhere.
and continues and continues. And the problem is, as Adam Schefter said, you forget that he was the MVP of the league. And then he got hurt.
And then he still led the league in touchdowns until a BS Week 17 game.
Yeah.
And he didn't play 3.5 weeks.
No, and someone said, well, it doesn't matter. He didn't get the wins. Well, let's think about some of those losses, and we've done this. Tennessee left the field with the lead. Carolina was up 21-0. What are some of the other losses last year?
Minnesota.
Minnesota was just, they did not play well as a team. I mean, that was on him, too.
Game plan was bad.
Dallas. I mean, they both games against Dallas were both winnable games. And I know he wasn't quarterbacking for both of them because.
Yeah, he was.
Did he quarterback the game in Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was his last game.
Once again, that's a game where it went to overtime. It goes to overtime, Dallas wins the game.
Right.
Is that all on Carson? No, I can't put that all on Carson.
Right.
It finally came up, and I wasn't ready. Well, because it kept playing.
Ruin everything.
Well, no, because it kept playing Timmy Jernigan's video like every 5 seconds, and I was getting really mad because every time I tried to play it, it was like, no, we're going to play Timmy Jernigan's video instead. Here's Carson talking about what he's really been focusing on this offseason.
I'm just trying to transform my body a little bit this offseason, and it's been, I think I've seen a lot of development there for me personally. I think that'll help going forward just with staying healthy and longevity and everything. So, just looking at nutrition and different, training techniques and really kind of diving into every aspect, any advantage I can find. Really went into this offseason and just, A, getting healthy, but then B, what it can look like to stay healthy. And, just those are some things that, not to get into any specifics, but that I definitely looked hard at this offseason. I'm not going to go into specifics on the diet. Maybe I'll write a book about it someday or something. But no, just kidding. A little bit. But no, obviously, a guy like Tom and just you see other athletes just they have their method. They find what works for them, and nutrition and diet and sleep and all those things are a big part of it. So for me, that's something I've really been looking at this off season too. And I think you'll see benefits and hopefully add years to your career. Obviously you see other guys doing it, so I always was curious. But it's something that I definitely after this season I'm like, okay, how can I ultimately just not just get healthy and get past this, but just be a healthier individual going forward for my career. And so I just dove into it.
So I mean that it sums it all up. Where I think in so many words he said, look, I've learned. I needed to adjust. I needed to do things a little bit differently than what I'm used to doing, what I'm accustomed to doing, because you're getting older, you're playing in the NFL, your body changes, so you got to change your habits. And it sounds like he made a conscious effort this year.
Malcolm was one of those guys.
This is playing again.
Yep.
Why is it playing? And this is, you got to change your habits. I mean, it's for anybody, whether it's a professional athlete or anyone else. The older you get, the tougher it gets. And you got to find new ways. What's going on? Carson has to be. Oh, my God. Oh, all right. Yeah. I mean, the offense is going to be good. The offense is going to be good. You know, it's like one of those years where like you're like, oh my God, that's right, Jordan Howard. Oh, that's it, Miles Sanders. Oh, Alshon Jeffrey's still here. Oh, Zach Ertz and Zach Goddard and Dallas Goddard.
Alshon Jeffrey was at the bar I was at on Friday. Yeah, we walked in. The bouncer was like, "You guys Eagles fans?" And we were like, "Kinda." And he goes, "How big?" And Joe was like, "Well, she writes covering them and does a podcast about them too." And he was like, "Alshon Jeffrey's behind the bar over there. Go over." And we were like, "Oh, okay."
Went over and saw him.
Yeah, he was just kind of there, standing behind the bar.
He seems real cool.
People were buying him drinks, and he was just like, "Yep."
Yeah. He doesn't seem like he's a big talker, but
he was just kind of there. He was standing behind the bar, so no one could really get to him.
Right.
But people were just, drunk idiots screaming, "We're gonna do it again!" And he's like,
"Yep, yeah, that sounds good. Go somewhere else and
go Birds."
scream in other places, please."
But yeah, the offense.
It's going to be so much fun. I mean, it really is, and how they're going to work in the Nelson Aguilars. Mac Hollins was discussed this week, Jess. His name came up.
He had a second surgery.
He's recovering.
He had
he's recovering in the witness protection. He will never play here.
It's unfortunate because he was in the locker room 3 days before the Falcons game, and he was ready to go. And he had that setback, that week leading up to the game, and he had to have a second surgery, and he's still not. It's unfortunate because there's a big competition this year.
Well, now with the rookie wide receivers, I mean, they spent a second-round draft pick on a rookie wide receiver.
Right.
You got to think he has the upper hand on,
Mac Hollins.
This is what happens when you disappear for a year. Like, his name literally just left my head like that.
I saw that. I saw it go.
I
watched it.
It wasn't like, wow, I'm losing it. I'm losing my damn mind.
It's all right.
So, all right, so that's the offense. Obviously, there's some offensive line. What's going to happen? How healthy is Jason Peters going to be? If Brandon Brooks can't go, it looks like Wisniewski's back. So I think that.
I don't think it looks like. I think he is.
But what I mean is it looks like he would be the guy to play.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very underrated signing. I think that's
a really good idea.
I think when you look at the fact that he came back here, even after the little bit of, rough times that it seemed that they were having last year, for Wisniewski to come back here, it tells me he knows this is a good organization. It's well ran. He respects the coaches. He respects the upper management guys. So I was happy to see that. The defense is going to be another interesting story. And obviously, a couple stories have come out this week. One, Chris Long has decided to retire.
Which is, I think, fair.
It's not a surprise, especially once the Eagles drafted, they signed the defensive lineman. They bring Timmy Jernigan back. They draft Sharif Miller. It's almost like he looked at it, saw the writing on the wall, and said,
I don't think he saw the writing on the wall. They straight up told him, we can't give you the role you had last year. It's going to be much less. And he went from being, a captain on the Rams to, being
a situational pass rusher.
Right. So, based on, he's had a great career.
He's had a tremendous career. And honestly, there's very few people that come to Philadelphia and only spend like 2 years and leave an impact on our fan base. And Chris Long, not just from his play and his leadership on the field, which was dynamite,
right,
but his off the field stuff, and watching him that first year donate every game check, and doing the Mount Kilimanjaro climb for the Water Boys, and it's just, he is a tremendous guy. I think, yes, he spent more time in other places, but I think he loved it here.
Oh, yeah.
I think he loved the city, the people. I think he loved everybody. Why he was out of Game 6 of the Sixers game wearing the dog mask, right? Him and Lane Johnson are out there. It just kind of shows you the type of guy he is. And, I know a lot of people are like, please, let's get him back. No, let the man go enjoy this now. And if he decides to come back in his career, that's on him. But, congratulations to Chris Long on a hell of a career. But that doesn't make me forget about what it kind of does to this defensive line a little bit. And what I mean is this. Sharif Miller, I wasn't very happy about the pick at the beginning. I'm not crazy. Josh Sweat, total unknown, right? Barely got on the field last year. Vinny Curry, it doesn't. Everyone thought it was a perfect fit to come back here for a depth guy. Okay. Brandon Graham is who he is, and we love Brandon Graham. Okay, we do love him. He's not a big sack number guy. He's a big hurry guy, right? He's a big get there and hurry the quarterback. Barnett coming off an injury, you got to hope.
Well, we'll see what that shows me is they're confident in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Confident in him.
That is. But as a fan, I sit here and just say, and it probably will be something they look at in the training camp and going forward. It's not going to be anything now. But the depth there could be a concern.
Well, but that's the thing. They still have several other names there that you're just not listing.
At the DN position?
Yeah. They have a couple other ones in there. Just in there that have been either practice squad guys or, that are in there for training camp that they have to take a look at to.
Can you pull up their roster and just look at defense? Just because I'm not saying that you're wrong. I
just
want
wonder if you there's like a Joe Osman or just a couple different guys here and there that are guys that have the opportunity to make this roster and be a good rotational player as well, because that's part of what they do is they have that rotation to keep their legs healthy
the way their defensive line is predicated on rotation, especially at the end positions. A little different on the inside because Malik Jackson's going to play all three downs. You know what I mean?
And then you get Timmy Jernigan
and they have Timmy Jernigan as a backup and Fletcher. The inside, I'm not worried about.
No, the inside's fine.
I think the D tackles are in a really, really good position. And they have the one kid from last year, that Hester kid, who I think they really like. The one who blocked the...
Trayvon Hester.
Yeah, who blocked the
field
goal.
So they also have... Is Bruce Hector, is he a... I want to say he's a DN. So they have some guys that were also on the line last year, got some time in there last year that, we'll see where they are. Kind of, it's one of those things where, I'm not going to worry until I see that final roster, and then we can make some decisions.
I'm not where I was with the linebacker saying you have to sign one now, but I'm saying that they have to keep that in the back of their mind because if you're predicated on defensive ends rotating as much as they do, you want to make sure you got four guys who are going to go in there and make an impact.
Well, but then you have to think they might not be. They might not be as predicated on rotating this year, but they would do it because they could.
Well, they would do it because they could, but when you think of Jim Schwartz's game plan, which is what? Get the pressure with the front four, right?
Right.
He doesn't want those guys to tire out because, look, he's gotten better and he'll blitz here and there, but Jim Schwartz is never going to be I'm coming after you and blitzing like crazy. It's just not in his forte. He's not Jim Johnson. He's not going to do that. So that's a little concerning. I think the linebackers are in a better position than where we were a couple of weeks ago. I think Zach Brown is a good addition. You obviously have Bradham. You're going to play a lot of those dime packages, though, where you have more corners on the field and things like that. And I'm not concerned about this. I want to preface what I'm about to say with saying I'm not overly concerned like some people are acting a damn fool about off-season workouts. They get voluntary off-season workouts again. But obviously...
I got it real quick.
You got it? All right, yeah.
So you've got Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, Vinnie Curry, Sharif Miller, Josh Sweat, Deshaun Hall, Joe Osman, and am I missing one? No, I think that's it. No. So, a couple guys in there, and then, some guys that they had moved around a little bit. Like, I think they moved Bruce Hector around a little bit more on the line as well. So, not going to, until we kind of see what some of those other guys can give you in camp, because Joe Osman is a guy that they're really high on.
And I honestly think that their perfect scenario is their four ends that are rotating, or obviously Graham and Barnett are your first stringers, and then Vinnie Curry, and I think it's either a Josh Sweat or a Sharif Miller.
Right.
They want to hit on one of those draft picks. They want one of those guys to step up and take the bull by the horns and become your next Chris Long out there on the edge. I think it's more likely Josh Sweat than Sharif Miller because I just think
Josh Sweat is enormous.
I just wish the guy could come and become something because I really like what he has the potential to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But obviously, what I was getting at, Malcolm Jenkins is a no-show at the off-season workouts. There is.
Do you want me to list whoever else is too? To go along with this voluntary situation?
Well, Jason Peters, Lane Johnson, I know, but
Alshon Jeffrey's not there.
Yeah, Lane Johnson just had a kid, I believe, or somebody in his family. Was it him?
Yeah.
So that's why he's not there. I understand. Jason Peters doesn't have to do anything in the offseason as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Alshon, I'm not surprised by that.
There's another one too.
But, I think the focus is on Malcolm because he's the leader of that defense. And that the rumors...
Jalen's not there. Ronald Darby's not there. Granted, neither of them are cleared yet, but they weren't there.
But I think the key with Malcolm is he's a leader of the defense and that the rumors came out that he would like to redo his contract.
Pay him.
And I'm 100% in agreement. I mean,
Pay him.
I'm in 100% agreement. I get, because someone said, oh, he's the 10th, or the 8th highest paid safety. But someone said, if you look at the ones above him, he's not better. I said, but it's not about.
It's about so much more.
He is the leader. He is the catalyst for this team.
He played every single defensive snap last year. And a bunch of special team snaps, too.
98% of the snaps last year.
Yes.
On defense. Or in his
time here.
Time here with the.
No. He played every single one.
98% in his time.
Total.
In his time here. That's what I want. I pull top paid safeties.
It's Landon Collins is up there, and then Tyrann Mathieu. I'm trying to think.
I'm going to pull it up right now. Because what I'm going to, basically my point of doing this is the guys that we're going to name are not necessarily the leaders on their team. They're not what Malcolm Jenkins is to the Eagles. Jess, we said last year, or a couple, or maybe it was going into last year, that he is the closest thing to Brian Dawkins we have, and I don't know if any of us ever expected to have that again.
Right.
Especially from a guy that wasn't drafted here, like he was brought in here.
He was brought in.
So
here.
it's Matthew, who's with the Chiefs, Landon with the Redskins, Earl Thomas with the Ravens, but he's getting up there. But once again, 3 guys on new teams, so they're not the leaders of their defense. Rashad Jones in Miami, LaMarcus Joyner in Oakland, Harrison Smith in Minnesota, Devin McCourty with the Patriots, Adrian Amos with the Packers. He's brand new there. These guys aren't the leaders, and then Malcolm Jenkins comes right after that. He's a different breed than them when it comes to the whole package for the Eagles.
My God, yeah.
So if he's holding out right now, fine.
Pay him.
Do something. Make this work.
Pay him.
You have $21 million.
27.
$27 million at your luxury.
Chris Long saves $6 million.
That's right, because it was 21 prior to that.
27. Pay him.
Do you remember when everyone was saying, "Oh, they have no cap space. What are they going to do?" And me and you sat here and said,
"Just wait.
It's Howie season. Just relax. Things are going to work out fine."
That's what I'm saying. This is what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. You just why freak out at the beginning? Why freak out at the beginning? Let it all happen, and then if you're not happy with it, then freak out. Why freak out before anything happens? They're literally you think they don't know what you're freaking out about? It's literally their job to know. They have one job, and it's to know what they have to do to make it better. That's it. So
let's hear what Doug had to say.
I love Doug.
It is a voluntary program, and Malcolm was one of those guys that leader of the football team, and not concerned with him. And we're going to keep our focus on the guys that are here and get better today.
Hey, Doug, when you don't have a veteran like Malcolm here, though, what are the conversations like to see how he's doing physically, keeping up with his training? What are those conversations?
Those are all things that obviously private conversations with our players and with our strength conditioning staff. But these guys are pros. They understand their bodies. They understand that when they are here, that they're ready to play and ready to go. And again, he's a guy that I don't have any concerns or worries about.
So, in retrospect, and to break down our wonderful coach's words, there's nothing to worry about. And people need to relax. He'll be here. He's not going to hold out all season. He's going to play no matter what happens with the contract thing. But it is in my belief, and Jess's belief, Patrick, and your belief too, I guess, it's in the best interest of the team to pay this man. And I'm not saying pay him Tyrann Mathieu money. And I don't think he's asking for that. That's not who he is.
I think part of it is also he doesn't have a lot of incentives or ways to make any more money on his contract. So just rearrange it so he has some incentives to make some money.
Well, if he's worried about the average per year, so right now he sits at 8.75. If you rose it to 11 or 10, even if you rose it to 10.5, he would be tied with LaMarcus Joyner as the 5th ranked average per year payment. But yeah, maybe it's his. Maybe he just wants it as incentives. Just talk to him, get this thing situated, get it off our plate so that when we get to camp in July, There's
problem.
no issues with our football team. We know what's happening. We know when it's happening. And it's just about watching football and hopefully watching another deep playoff run this year and a possible Super Bowl title in Miami. Because then I'll have to take 2 trips to Miami this year. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, you're not going to Miami twice.
No, I'm
The
only.
Eagles will go to Miami twice.
Yes.
You're not going to Miami.
I'm only going to go in the end of November. That's when I'm going back to Florida.
Yep.
I'll look for some stories while I'm down there.
I'll be
And
there 2 weeks later.
it'll be Christmas time. Christmas time in Florida.
I can't imagine Eagles fans not making news in Florida.
Oh man, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I haven't been on an Eagles trip in 2 years. I need to get back. And by then, the new baby will be about
6 months.
6 months old.
Not even.
Not even 6 months.
Like 4.
So I'm going to need a break.
I'm sure you're the one who needs the break.
Oh, no, she'll need a break too, and she'll get one. Don't worry. Don't you worry. Okay. Let's touch on the Sixers.
Okay.
Or is there anything else about the Eagles you wanted to discuss?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty
We
much
covered
it.
it. We covered the main topics there, right?
We got it.
All right, so now we're bouncing around on our. We need to come up with a name for this segment that we're doing.
4 for 4. Done.
Okay. And now on our 4 for 4 program, episode 1 of 4 for 4.
It's a working title.
Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. No, Patrick, you don't understand. Whatever she says goes. It's going to be 4 for 4 now. That's the way. So
No, I really don't care. I was
It'll
just
be
trying
on
to keep
social media as 4 for 4, literally in 5 seconds, and we're just going to have to roll with it. So this is our 4 for 4 episode 1. We said our talk about the Flyers consists of us saying we need to start following the Flyers to talk about them.
Yep.
Had some good talk about the Phillies.
You can't say we didn't talk about the Flyers.
We talked about them. We mentioned them.
They were
About
mentioned.
twice. We talked about the Phillies with Andrew Salciunas. We did a little Eagles OTA. The Sixers, I feel like the pain has gone away of the loss. You're now watching one team's already in the NBA Finals. The other series is going at least 6 games.
It's literally only halfway done.
Yeah, so, but obviously these the Sixers have become like they are just always a news story. And obviously Jimmy Butler's Instagram post that many of us, myself included, kind of freaked out on. You mean to tell me, Jess, when you saw that, you didn't go, ooh.
No, because you want to know what else happened?
What?
Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons posted the same exact.
No, Joel Embiid said, but we'll be back fighting stronger than ever next year.
Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and a bunch of the other players too put the same post up on social media. Everyone's only reading into it because
He's a free agent.
he's a free agent. So chill. Just chill.
I can't. Do you understand how far back I feel like we go if they do not re-sign him?
I get that, and I understand it too, but I'm not going to waste my time worrying about it right now. This is exactly what we were talking about. Stop wasting your time worrying about it. They know. Elton Brand knows.
I'll be
Everyone's
back
seen
even
it.
better
No
and
one
stronger.
cares.
I'll be back even better and stronger, is what Joel said.
Okay,
I
he said
agree
he
with
will
you.
be back. It's the same post. Relax.
I agree
Everyone
with you.
needs to freaking chill for 5 minutes.
I agree with you that Ben's is the same exact thing. Thank you to the fans and staff that supported us all season. Love you guys. Although he did say, #run it back.
And you know who liked that picture right after? Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. Let's go.
And then Jimmy's an Instagram fiend.
He's funny.
Jimmy is on Instagram all the time, but his is just to Philly and my teammates. Thank you.
Okay. That was dramatic
And
for
then
no
he went-
reason.
I needed some Revenant music behind it.
No. Yeah, I just think everyone needs to
But
just
but
wait for
you
it to
said
happen.
it last week that we are concerned. There is
You
concern.
said it.
And then
I
you
said it's a worry. You were like, it's a goodbye. I'm like, it's not a goodbye.
I
Relax.
said it could be a goodbye.
No, you said it sounds like a goodbye. And I
Yes.
said, all right, let's not go that far.
But you said it's a worry.
I said it sounded concerning. Yes, but I'm not going to sit here and waste my time worrying about it.
Look, I look at the Sixers roster, and I don't even want to talk about the Jimmy thing. It's it'll right itself July 1st.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll happen. We'll see.
there's no you're right. There's no reason to sit here and every single post
Because nothing about free agency has really even started yet. No conversations have started.
No.
Nothing's going on
No.
until at least the finals.
that was like
are
someone
over.
said, someone was a bouncer for Jimmy Butler the other night in Philly, and Jimmy said he's going to L.A. for a long time. Fact is, he was already in Chicago at the time, so that did not actually happen. Get rid of that.
We also
Here's-
know the house that he's been renting. It's a family that I went to high school with who owns the house. So the room, if there's a rumor that's been that he bought the house.
Mm-hmm.
The price. This house has been for sale for years.
Okay.
Years. The price that he's rumored to have bought it for, I think, is really close to what the price of the house was. Because I think we looked it up one day just to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an enormous house. It's gorgeous. So there's that rumor as well. Who knows?
Yeah, there's rumors on both
I mean,
sides.
to go off Rob's rumor, like, what did he tell you when you saw him?
I
in
know that
Greece?
was the first thing I
Yeah.
thought of when I saw that. But I did see he was already in Chicago when that happened. So I'm like,
What did he tell you again?
He told me he was going to go to LA.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh God, I wish.
That's right. I hope he lied to me the same way Jalen Mills lied to me.
I forgot about that and wish I never remembered it.
It's Patrick's fault.
So real quick, because I do want to get to This Is Madness, as I didn't even realize it. Where we at?
4:36.
Yeah, okay, so we got about 25 minutes left.
Yep.
Here's my concern with the Sixers. Whether it was Hinkie, whether it was Colangelo, didn't matter. One thing that they have not been good at is drafting. Before you rip my head off about Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons was the number 1 overall pick. I mean, you won the lottery, you got it. Some would say you lucked out when you got the 3rd pick in the lottery that you took Joel Embiid, because everybody's plan, right, was winless for Wiggins. That was it. We all said it. I loved it because everybody thought Wiggins was going to be the next coming. Yeah, obviously dodged that bullet. Okay. Outside of that, when they've had to actually think about a draft pick, they haven't made very many good ones.
No.
And I'm not even blaming the Markelle Fultz thing on them. They traded up. They went after the guy that everybody called the consensus number 1 pick.
Right.
It blew up in their face. It is what it is. But what I mean is I'm talking about little odds and ends, like you take Korkmaz and TLC, right, because of for whatever the reasons, and now you see what Pascal Siakam's become. And hindsight's 20/20, obviously. It's how it always is. But their late round picks, which is what they have this year, right, 24 and then 4 second rounders, have not hit. They have not hit on these guys. These guys have not been what you had hoped. And because of that, Landry Shamet was, but you traded him for Tobias. Okay, you finally got one. But the key is the way you build a bench in this league isn't by signing guys. It's by drafting perfect pieces for your bench. I think even more important than free agency this year, I think they have got to hit. They've got to hit on these draft picks. They've got to get the guys that could come off the bench and score. Have a guy that's, a great defender. And you hear the names, and we'll talk about the draft as we get closer.
When is the draft?
It's the end of June, I think, or middle of June. No, because if the finals go 7, it's like a week after the finals. Is the way the draft is.
Before the NBA awards?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
It says that it's June 20th.
Okay.
June 20th. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like the 2 names that you've seen a lot pop up to the Sixers early are the little guard from Purdue, Carson Edwards, who I think Villanova fans know very well, right, Patrick?
Yeah, I was literally just Googling Carson Edwards draft projection.
Yeah, I know that
I was pretty sure.
His name's popped up a lot, and the other one you've seen pop up quite a bit.
UVA.
You've seen Ty Jerome pop up, but you've also seen in the first round Cam Johnson from North Carolina, who I have been since the season ended saying, I remember when Carolina season ended, I remember texting my friends and going, he'd be a dynamite bench player for the 76ers because he can shoot the ball. He's long. He's a good defender. He's not a great defender.
Well, we're going to talk about apparently good and great defenders in a second.
Uh-oh.
We're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Continue.
So, I mean, they've got to hit on this draft. I think this draft is maybe more important.
Especially with the number of picks they have. Yeah. You have to make them count.
This is more important, in my opinion, than any of the drafts where they were in the top of the draft. They got to hit on these late-round picks because everyone talks about the Warriors. None of those guys were I believe Steph was like 16, 15.
Wasn't he 7?
Yeah.
Was he that early?
He was top 10.
He was top 10. Was Clay top 10?
I think Clay might have been a little bit higher.
Draymond, was
second
a second round. And then some of their bench pieces are draft picks. The kid from Oregon, that is their backup, Bell, who gets in there and plays.
Curry was the 7th pick, and Clay was.
You know what it was? Curry was the 7th pick, but I felt like he was getting passed over for some of these. I think maybe Flynn from Syracuse. Did he go after him? I feel like there were other point guards that kept going.
He was in the draft with like Ricky Rubio, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin, Hashim Tabet, James Harden, Tyreek Evans, Ricky Rubio, Johnny Flynn.
Johnny Flynn.
And
So that's what I was thinking. That
Tyreek
Rubio.
Evans.
Oh my God,
What a
Tyreek
mess.
Evans. Those guys go before Steph. But what I mean is, you got to hit on these draft picks. So I think we can leave it at that.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. This is Man This Time.
No. Pause. The all defensive teams came out today.
I thought that was part of your This is
No.
Madness.
It's
No.
not.
Okay.
We just
All
need
right.
to talk about it.
We're wrong.
I guess
Patrick.
We just need to talk about it for a second because I think I think they announced this backwards. This can't be right. The first team has to be the second team, and the second team has to be the first team. And honestly, it has nothing to do with Sixers. It just, I would Joel Embiid on second team all defense. I'm good with that.
Okay.
But as a whole, first team, Rudy Gobert, Paul George, Giannis, Marcus Smart, and Eric Bledsoe. Second team, Drew Holiday, Klay Thompson, Joel Embiid, Draymond Green, Kawhi Leonard. Tell me those are not backwards.
Yeah, it seems a little backwards to
I
me.
feel like this is very fitting for This Is Madness.
Yeah.
Okay, it could have been. But
This is the
let's
intro
talk-
to Mrs. Madness.
Okay, but seriously? And here's the thing.
Yeah, that's bad.
You can't even just sit here and tell me it's because of Joel Embiid, because it's not. It's
Just getting myself prepared as you're talking.
It's all of it. It just doesn't make sense to me. How is Marcus Smart first team all defense?
Well, how are you going to put Kawhi and Klay on a second team? Makes
Right. I don't understand.
legitimately no sense.
This makes
to me.
no sense to me. I'm so confused.
If they want to argue the point that Joel's a second teamer because he just doesn't play as many games,
That's
okay,
fine.
It's
fine.
valid.
I'm seriously okay with Joel being on second team, but the 5 there versus the 5 in the first team makes no sense to me at all. None.
That's pretty bad. But
That's what I'm saying.
But Jess, I've talked about the all defensive team before, and I've told you before, it's a piece of
Rocco
crap.
deserved every
It's a piece of
vote
crap
he got.
when Robert Covington was on the first
Team all
defensive team.
deflections.
Yeah, first team all deflections, not first team all defense.
No, he was. All right,
Oh
anyway.
my God!
This is madness.
Stop it. Yeah, well, you started it with
I
that
know.
one. I have 2 that focus around my trip.
Okay. I have 3.
Oh, I thought you were counting 12 over
No,
there.
I was
I
just
have
making
2.
And Patrick has 2. All right, Patrick, it's nice having you back here. So I'm going to let you start. Well, actually, technically, she started today, but you can start now.
Seasonal allergies are back,
Oh boy.
and I cannot stand them. And it also, where I work, they have a patio section, and then they also have a back room that can open up all the windows. So this weekend when I was working, I was in the back, and I hadn't taken allergy medicine because it wasn't really a problem until this weekend, and I felt like I had to sneeze the entire time I was there. It was terrible.
I have seasonal allergies, not as bad as, but they are god awful. They make you feel so terrible about everything.
Yeah.
It is the worst. Jess, do you struggle with seasonal allergies?
Not too bad. Living in Delaware for 4 years really, really started to get me a little bit because I never had allergies growing up. Delaware started to bring it out a little bit. Sometimes it bothers me, but I really
Not all
don't.
the time.
My brother and sister and Joe actually are all pretty bad. My brother's the worst actually. He'll wake up and look like he got punched in the face.
That was me this morning.
Oh, awful.
Terrible.
So I'm sure
Speaking
he-
of it,
well, I guess he
are
was.
you in alone time with sister yet?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
It's fine. Andrew's been in Florida all weekend.
Yes,
so
I
he'll
knew.
be-
I wasn't sure if it was happening yet, but I remember talking to you about it last week.
Yeah.
You said that it's kind of sparked my.
Yeah, so he was there all weekend. He's actually, I'm sure he's home now. But yes, my parents left Friday, so Soph and I have been, it's just been me and her since Andrew left Saturday morning. So it's just
sister.
been me and her since then.
You are.
She had a bunch of field hockey games on Saturday that I went and sat at. And then Sunday, we just kind of hung out. We went and laid by the
Now, do
pool.
you-
It was a nice little sister time.
Do you enjoy going and sitting at a bunch of field hockey games?
Yeah, I don't mind. I love watching
Huh.
her play because
cool.
she's a really good player, and she's also really fun to watch because she's super ultra competitive and super ultra aggressive. So she like just has this fire in her
Yeah.
that when she plays, it's so much fun. To
It's
watch.
funny
and
how
she's
I've
fearless.
never-
Like she'll just
Yeah,
go
it's
and
funny.
attack.
I've never met your sister, but just from pictures, video,
She's great.
I have felt that she is definitely an aggressive.
She is.
athlete.
She's a competitor. She's an athlete through and through. So it's a lot of fun to watch her play, go out there, work hard, compete. Because that's one thing with her is you'll never have to worry about her like not giving 100%. So watching her play is I find fun, and it was nice. I got some sun. My grandma was there, so
Love your grandma.
yeah. So we had my grandma, my step grandfather were there, so we were just hanging out.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
But she had games. It was brutal because we were out Friday night for one of my best friend's graduation parties. So we went. It was the party, and then a couple of his friends from undergrad who live in Florida and North Carolina. They were up, so we went to the bar after. And one of our other good friends who just graduated, he lives in Memphis, so he came up. So we all went out. First of all, drinking in the boot was not pleasant. I could not stand up. It was very difficult. I just couldn't balance with my boot on my foot. And we were out so late. We were out till the bars closed at 2. And then
The days.
I stopped drinking at a certain point because I had to teach in the morning.
Ooh.
So I stopped drinking and just started drinking water. But we got back so late. It was like 3 o'clock, and then my alarm went off, and I had to leave at 7:30 to go teach. I was teaching for the other teacher because she had job training that day. So I taught straight through with no breaks from 9 to 2, and then drove right to Sophie's field hockey game. She had a game at 4, 6, and another one at 8. I was just exhausted. I was so tired by the end of the day.
I would think so. Well, I was tired on Thursday, Jess.
Tell me.
So we had a 6 a.m. flight out of Philadelphia on Frontier Airlines.
Oh, God.
And when we went to check in the night before, we noticed that they charge the exact same amount for a carry-on as they do for...
The flight?
No, for
For a
a check bag. So I said, well, let's just check the bags. I said, this way you don't have to deal with any crap. We'll just check them. We'd already packed our bags. They were packed. I said, but it's $40. This way we can put stuff in them that we don't have to worry about being too small and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's a 6 a.m. flight. It's early.
Yep.
We're up at 2:15 in the car and parked by 10:04 a.m. I'm not a morning person. By the way, I just have to throw that out there.
Yeah. No, understood.
As we're on the bus, this other older couple, and totally stereotypical of me, when they said they were flying Frontier 2, I knew they were going to where we were going because they were of the older generation. And I hear them say to each other, yeah, we just got an email, our flight's not leaving till 11. And I was like, oh, man, that sucks, like not leaving till 11. And then I'm starting to think, and I'm going, they're flying Frontier. They look like the type that would be flying to Fort Myers. I'm flying to Fort Myers. I said, all right, don't worry. Maybe you're just being nuts. So as we get up and we hand them our bags, the woman looks at us and goes, are you aware that your flight is not taking off now until 11 o'clock? It's 4 a.m. 4 a.m.
Oh.
And I'm at the airport. I go, okay. I said, all right, what are you going to do? Get up. Instead of sending us an alert or anything, they sent an email at like 4 to tell us this. I could have been home sleeping a few extra hours.
Yep.
Whatever. Okay, so then we get there and we're sitting there and they keep telling us that's just an estimated time. There's a member of the attendant staff that's sick. We're trying to replace them as soon as possible. And I said, how the hell is a member sick and you're trying? You telling me you can't get somebody here until 7 hours from right now? There's got to be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'll dress up in Frontier clothes and be the damn stewardess. I don't care. Flight attendant. All right, so they give us a food voucher, $10 each person. Ooh. It actually paid for our meal because we went right across with Chicky and Pete's, and I got my steak, egg, and cheese sandwich. It's delicious, by the way. Very good. Then I'm saying to Alyssa, I said, no, we're complaining. I said, 7 hours we're sitting here. By the way, the flight never took off till 11:45. I'll give you that.
Oh, God.
So then Alyssa gets something, and it says that, we're so sorry. here's a $75 voucher per ticket to fly Frontier Airlines again. $75. Is that going to fly me from Cherry Hill to Philly?
Yeah.
First
probably.
of all. Then we look at the fine print. We have to use it by August. That's 3 months away. Where the hell am I going in the next 3 months? Where the hell? So now I'm like, and then by the way, I'm going to just try and shorten this up. We're delayed an hour and a half coming home as well.
Great.
On Frontier. It is the single worst airline in the history of airlines. They charge, first, you can't even get a soda without paying $4. They don't hand out a little bag of pretzels. There's no pretzels. Nothing. They don't give you anything. And they keep saying, well, we charge for this so that we can take the cost of your flight down. You didn't take nothing down. I had to pay $40 for a bag. You have no internet. So I got to buy movies and download them before I get on your damn plane. It was horrible. Horrible. Don't fly Frontier ever. It is the single worst airline of all time. Sorry.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
It is. We have 9 minutes, so I guess we got to move a little bit quicker.
Yeah, I don't know. You took up all the time over there.
I'm sorry. I have been dying for this moment since Thursday.
So my parents, as I told you, are in, I don't even know where they are right now, technically. They flew into Zurich.
Somewhere we all want to be.
They flew into Zurich and they were leaving They were leaving for a river cruise from Basel, and they're doing a river cruise up the Rhine, ending up in Amsterdam. So they're stopping in a couple of different spots in France and Germany as they go. So they're doing a river cruise in which they are probably the youngest people on the boat by like 30 years. These people, so they sent us a video of like the people getting off of the shuttle bus, getting onto the boat, which is hilarious. So we get a text a little bit ago from my mother. It says, so we just sat at dinner and the couple next to us was so excited because they thought we were just like them. Husband 20 years older than the wife. My mom is so happy right now. She is on cloud 9. So my brother goes, yeah, that must have been a shot to you, huh, Andy? And I said, Mom, how good do you feel right now? And my dad goes, that guy couldn't have been more excited when we seated with them. Better that way, though. If they said something the other way around, we'd be flying home tomorrow.
Also, a very great point. Your father is a smart man.
Oh, my God. I just know that she's sitting there. She's so happy right now, and she's just on cloud 9, and he's just trying to just not say anything mean to this other person.
Yeah. Godspeed.
So
Godspeed.
Funny. So funny. Which is BS, because there's no way my dad looks like he's 20 years older than my mom at all.
No,
like,
I don't see
at
that.
all. Like they both.
I'm not trying to insult you, Mrs. Town, though. I think you look wonderful.
Yeah,
I didn't want to throw that,
Yeah, they both don't look their age at all. Like
Right.
they both have aged very well, but there's absolutely, no matter how you look at it, no way my dad looks 20 years older
That's
than my
awesome.
mom.
That's a great story.
Hilarious.
I like it.
Hilarious. That's what I was showing Patrick when we were sitting over here. I was getting those texts and I was like, oh my God, look at this.
All right, Patrick, what else you got for me?
This Sunday was the finale of Game of Thrones, and it was
Oh, you're a Game of
terrible.
Thrones fan with me?
Yes, very much.
I've missed you because she has not let me talk about it at all. I've gone through the 5 stages of grief with it, and I've come to accept it. Me and you, we'll talk about this when we have more time. It's actually not as terrible as we think. And the reason being,
Patrick disagrees.
No, Patrick.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
but
I understand. Like the only thing I'm at the point of that pisses me off is what they did with Arya. What they did with Arya just makes no sense to me because you've built this thing up and now she's just sailing away, like she's one of those explorers from back in time.
What I hate is what they did with they totally have no. They just ignored time,
Well, I see, and that was the whole show they did that, but I learned to ignore that from the get-go because I knew there was only 6 episodes.
But with this one, when I guess we could do spoilers, but
Yeah. Spoilers, don't listen if you haven't seen it.
when Jon kills Dany, they just skip all the aftermath that happens after that,
and
which is probably the biggest part of the show.
To me, that's where they should have had another episode. Like, they should have had a 7th episode where they kind of brought us those 3 weeks that they just skip.
Yeah.
Or that month
It should have ended with them locking up Jon as a prisoner or something.
Yes,
and then they come
brought us back
later.
and closed it out. Because at first I wasn't happy with how they closed it out, but then I was actually, everything made more sense. John always wanted to be in the North. He always wanted to be with the Wildlings. Now he's back. He's not banished. There's no no wall anymore.
There's nothing to protect.
Grey Worm's just an idiot. He didn't realize
that's the
it.
one thing I actually heard. How did they fix the wall?
Well, that's what somebody said. Remember, there's two sides of the wall.
Okay.
And it was the other side that they got in on. That's the way I'm. All right. We won't kill you, Jess. We're sorry.
I stopped listening. I don't know what just happened.
All right, Jess. Go ahead. We got about 4 minutes.
I was gonna read the going back and forth with the Cowboys fan about how stupid he is, but I'm just not gonna do that.
No, go to Jess's Twitter because
Go
it
to
is
my Twitter,
ridiculous.
Cowboys
what
fans
trying
are
to say.
stupid.
They are.
Absolutely stupid.
And Jess kicked his ass as she always does. Well done, Jess.
Thanks.
I was very
appreciate
proud of
it.
you. What's
Yeah.
your third one, Jess? I'll let you
That
finish
was
it
it.
up.
I just was going to talk about Joel Embiid owning his crying face.
That's fantastic.
On Twitter.
It's a
He's
gem.
the best.
He's a gem.
He really is. And what I love about him is he talks a lot of trash. He 9 times out of 10 backs it up. And the 1 out of 10 time he doesn't, he pokes fun at himself, which I think is fantastic. And I think his personality is fantastic. And I can't wait to see how he comes back next year after this.
I know. I think this experience is going to help this team
I agree.
a lot as we go forward here. My last thing has to deal with the flight as well, but it doesn't have to deal with Frontier. It has to deal with people on an airplane.
Yes.
We're in the back of the airplane, and you know how when a plane lands and everybody just stands up, right? And like they rush to stand up. Everybody's got to stand up. I sit. I mean, what the hell? What the hell am I going to stand here for? It's going to take people a while to get their bags down. So these 2 women who have inched up from like 3 rows back and are like standing right by me. And I'm looking at my wife because they're yentas. I call them yentas. They just want to talk to hear themselves talk. And it's not a woman thing. It's just, it's an attack.
Is that an acronym or like?
No, yentas. It's technically, I think, a word for Jewish women, possibly, or old Italian women. It's something along the, and it's just women who talk just like that's a yenta. That's what I'm hearing next to me, and they're going. Wow, I don't understand. Like, why aren't people getting their bags until it's time for them to move? Why can't they get them ahead of time? Now we all have to wait for them to get their bags. And they're going on and on. And I'm looking at the list and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to turn around and say something. I'm going to actually get in a fight on this airplane because they are driving. They're like, I mean, Jesus, why do you have to have that big bag as a carry-on? Blah, 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 blah. And I wanted to turn around and say, well, most airlines don't charge you for the carry-on. That's why you bring the carry-on. It's actually a smart way to travel. Like, dude, you're home. You're going to get off the plane. We're all going to get off the plane. Stop bitching. Just stop bitching. They did it for literally 20 minutes as we were waiting to deboard the plane. And I've never in my life been at a point where I was ready to kill. Like, just sit back down and calm the hell down until everybody gets off the plane. Why are you making a big deal? Also, there's people with kids. Why don't you give them a second? I've traveled with kids. It's not fun.
It can't be easy.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure
don't be jackasses. Jackasses! Buy our shirts at shop.prosportsnotes.com. There we go. Thank you to Andrew Salciunas joining the show today. Jess, thank you for getting that guest. Patrick, it is great to see you get back. We miss you. And now that you talk Game of Thrones, we can have a Game of Thrones segment even though the show's over.
Oh.
And Jess will just go stand in the corner.
Talk about all the spinoffs that
all the spinoffs that are going to come off. Next week, we will be back.
Yep.
Okay? See what the heck the 4 for 4 brings us. There's always a news story coming out of Philadelphia.
Always something.
WildfireRadio.com, Friday 9 to 11. Thank you to ProSportsNotes.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Comment. Rate it. Please.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. Everybody have a great week. Embrace the madness. We will be back next week bringing you the madness.